qualifiers are open mode, so our runners, when they start right now, will choose from where they want to start between Link's house and the Sanctuary. Ooh, look at that. 2 items right off the bat, the Quake Medallion in Link's house and the Hookshot in the Sanctuary.
That's a pretty generous start there. We don't know if that medallion is going to be useful there, but the hook shot is going to be is something that a lot of people will have been searching for in other seeds for quite some time.
Yep, and we had a quick map check there. I didn't catch much, but I did see a vanilla green pendant in Eastern Palace.
Interesting there. So we've got Zillness and Top Life heading straight for the Uncle section there to check his item there. Of course, this is a randomized sword, so we're starting out weaponless at the moment. We just have to rely on pots at the moment. But we do have some bombs to start us off, and a lantern from Uncle himself.
Yep, Zertinal, off on his own path, has given us a check of the Houlihan room to get some rupees.
I believe the telepathic tile inside of the Houlihan room doesn't count as one of the hint ones, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Unchanged. The telepathic tile in the Houlihan room is where we enshrine the names of tournament winners.
And who knows, maybe one of these runners will show up there after this tournament is over. But we've got Zeratul heading over and is going to be working towards Kakariko soon, as Zonus and Top Life are heading into the Lost Woods to go check those free items there.
I didn't catch it. Did any one of our runners give us a check of the Lumberjack Ledge item?
I did not see that there, so not yet. So we still do not know what is over there and what is locked behind Aghanim 1 there. We've got just 20 rupees in the big mushroom spot there, and we've got a full heart container over down in the Thieves Cave.
Zertinol, meanwhile, taking the route through the south of Hyrule, shows off a quick little clip there through that block using the hookshot. While the block is in motion, the game doesn't believe it exists, so you can hookshot right through it to the chest, save yourself walking in and out of the dam.
And at the bottom of the lake there, we've got another full heart piece there. So we've got all runners starting off at 4 hearts at the moment, everyone having found at least 1 heart container. But we're proceeding with the clear there. Only Zertinol is going through the southern Hyrule area at the moment there. We've got all of the other 3 runners right now heading into Blind's hut there, checking out that treasure trove of goodies. And in the first chest, we have a piece of heart. We've got some rupees. And we've got another piece of heart. And lastly, some arrows there. Nothing interesting found there, but we still have some last hope in this one last chest here.
It looks like Mini Moldrum. Oh boy. That was the silver arrows, the hammer, and the... What was that? The Cane of Samaria. That's right. So many items in a row. Can't even keep track of them.
Alright, so with the hammer and the Cane of Samaria there, we don't quite have access to Turtle Rock just yet, I don't believe. Or do we? No, we've got the hookshot to get over to West Death Mountain, but we can't get into the Dark World yet.
Yep. No Dark World access, and we're definitely going to need those mitts to head up to Dark Death Mountain. We don't even have access to Light World Death Mountain, but we do have a sword. In the well in Kakariko. And a book. And a... Wow! What a ton of early game items. All of these early game locations.
Just throw in the boots now, and then we'll have all the mobility you could ever want. But we've got here 300 rupees from the bottle merchant there, so that's a good return on the investment there. But the early flute is what's really going to come into play.
So we've got 3 Swag Duck anthems playing, and we can't hear any of them because we've got Zertinal sound going on right now.
Even so, synchronized Swag Ducks are still pretty awesome. So the question is, where do we go from here? None of them, I guess they will continue on their clear to southern Hyrule, as none of them have been there yet after they finish out Kakariko.
Yep, that's true. Looking forward, we have a flute and we have a hookshot, so there's quite a bit we can do up on Death Mountain. And we have a hammer, so we can get all the way to Tower of Hera even. And that's apparently the only crystal we've got in the light world is the one at Tower of Hera.
So that most likely will be our first objective, if I had to guess. There's only a few items in there of note there. Let me see here.
2 items in Tower of Hera, and notable in version 32 hint tablets.
Yes, that is an important thing there. Knowledge is power.
Yep, and we just pulled a Master Sword in the tavern, so we're leaving Kakariko with a Master Sword. You know, we have a Master Sword and a lamp.
You could go to Aga 1 if you wanted to there. And in the library we just have money, nothing there.
Yeah, we've got a ton of locations to check before we have to start worrying about that note, though.
It does make you wonder. Let's see, over at the race game we have just more money. Looks like Zero Tool has opted to go for the escape sequence to see if there's anything in there.
Yep, we got a great weapon in the hammer, does tempered sword level damage, and we've got a light source, so the entire trip through escape will be in logic. There's a potential that we don't get the small key and we can't get all the way to the back of escape. But everything else we can check.
Meanwhile, Rambler's fetching the old man, gonna see what his reward is. Zelda decides to go through the race game there and abandons it once he sees that his prize is merely just money. Meanwhile, Top Life is heading towards the mini Moldorm cave there and is going to find that treasure trove of goodies very shortly. Meanwhile, Rambler is still on top of Death Mountain. They're heading up. Gonna see what is there with the hammer. We'll see how far they can get.
Yeah, Rambler's going to be able to give us a look at what's on top of... It's another medallion. I think it was Bombos. And this is going to be a much more common play in version 30. Just going in and blindly getting the item from Spectacle Rock because there is another one of those hint tablets right here.
Yes, that is right. This will be our first hint tablet that we'll see for this match. Let's see what it has to say.
Oh, that's a good hint. That's right away tells you where that ether medallion is. That's a chest requiring a specialist to unlock. That is the purple chest.
Oh, that is a very good hint there, because that is one of those out-of-the-way chests that you don't really want to check unless you really have to.
Yep, some of the hints are guaranteed to be for those out-of-the-way locations. Places like Catfish, Graveyard Ledge, Left Swamp, Left Mire. So this purple chest is one of those things that you have a chance of getting a hint for, because it's out of the way.
Even with that there, Ether, it has a chance of being a required medallion. We haven't been able to see Turtle Rock or the Misery Mire yet, but
Yes.
that is an invaluable thing that could save a lot of time if we did not know about that.
And that means at this point, we know where all of our medallions are. We have Quake, we know that Bombos is on top of Spectacle Rock, locked by the mirror, and Ether's in the purple chest, so medallions aren't going to be a point of contention in this race.
Meanwhile, Zelda is heading straight for Desert Temple, whereas Rambler's checking out the Paradox caves and gets the first gloves.
Absolutely. That's an extremely common occurrence. You get early game Death Mountain access, you get a hookshot, you come over here and grab a treasure trove. 5 more chests coming up for Rambler. There's the Moon Pearl and the Blue Mail. So that is our Dark World access there. With the Moon Pearl, the hammer, and a glove. We also get our first bottle.
Yep, we will be able to access the Dark World through any of those hammer peg locked portals.
Yes, and with that, I believe, unless there's something at the Lumberjack Ledge, which we haven't seen yet, we're not going to be killing Aga 1.
No one has checked that yet there. Looks like Zilnus has gotten out of the Desert Palace so far. Did his quick check in there. Meanwhile, Zeratul is working on his clear of Kakariko there. We already know what's mostly in there. And he's going to be picking up those very important items down in there as well. In the well, I believe it was.
Yep, he'll get a sword, a book, and a flute down there in the well, and before he leaves, he will have the Master Sword.
The old man just has some love, some small love to give there. We had already seen that though, but it's always good to find out there. Meanwhile, Top Life is at the top of Death Mountain. There, looking he's working his way over to Hera.
Yep, without the mirror, you do have to take this long way around, hookshot over to the east, and then use the hammer bridge there to get back across. But Hera will be full completable. We have a fire source, and we have 2 different weapons that we can use to damage Moldorm.
We also have the Master Sword and the Book of Medora, so we'll be able to check this tablet while we're here. And with it comes just 20 rupees. Oh well. It's one of those setups you think might lead up to something just because we just happen to have those 2 items there, but no, it's nothing here. But maybe the other tablet does, you never know.
Did you catch where Rambler got the Titan Smiths?
I did not.
Well, we'll have to pay attention. That
Yes.
Quads are hard to follow. That's a really interesting and exciting item, because Rambler's already up here on Dark Death Mountain.
Meanwhile, we've got Top Life inside of Hera there. Zilnus is climbing Death Mountain there. And Rambler's heading into the Hookshot Cave. Unfortunately, there's nothing much of interest in the Hookshot Cave there, but it's still about 4 chests that you want to get marked off.
Yeah, and here at 12 minutes in, we'll be getting a look at Turtle Rock to see what that medallion is. It is Bombos, so that means Turtle Rock is locked behind the mirror, which is locking Bombos on the top of Spectacle Rock.
Turtle Rock is a bit hard to complete this early on there, just with the low. Well, we've gotten plenty of hearts so far, but even so, there we still would want the Ice Rod and Fire Rod before even thinking about entering. We can't even get all that far without the Fire Rod.
Yeah, there is a possibility that Turtle Rock lays out its keys in such a way that you can get pretty deep without the Fire Rod, but no matter what, you need that rod to beat the boss. I'm imagining Mitts were probably in Spiral Cave. That's one thing that I didn't pay attention to and haven't seen yet.
Meanwhile, Rambler's checking out the swamp hut there. I didn't get a glimpse of what the medallion was for Mire, but...
Mire was Quake, and that means that Ether Medallion in the purple chest is not going to be required this seed.
Even so, knowing that the purple chest is not required is valuable in and of itself there. And
absolutely.
Meanwhile, Top Life is taking down Moldorm. Just taking him down right now, and the boss prize for Moldorm is a piece of heart. But the crystal is what the real prize is here.
Zelda's getting a little beat up by some dead rocks.
Dead rocks will always be the most inconvenient thing ever. Well, almost. Oh, and Rambler gets the fire rod from the sick kid.
Very nice find.
Got that bottle and fairy from, I believe that was from the Paradox Cave earlier, and it managed to wrap this in quite nicely.
Definitely true. Fire Rod will definitely be required twice over this seed, with both Skullwoods and Turtle Rock being crystals. And Rambler is heading straight in the direction of Skullwoods. Great place to go now that we have that Fire Rod.
One of the few dungeons that strictly requires the Fire Rod outside of Turtle Rock there. Now, you can get through Ice Palace without Fire Rod, as you know there. Bombos will work for that. But even so, you're right here anyway, since you were just at Sick Kid, why not go straight to the dungeon that 100% requires it? Zelmus checks another telepathic tile, but I did not catch what that hint was. Something involving the castle. That's all that I managed to see before he finished the text box. So it looks like Top Life has gotten his fire rod as well and is heading straight towards Skull Woods too.
Yes, indeed. Rambler showing off some good game knowledge, knowing there's a full magic refill behind the bombable wall in this room of Skullwoods. Top Life is pulling off a bomb jump to check this big chest here to get the bug net. And that means we've seen both items in Skull Woods.
That is correct there, but we do need to finish the dungeon, and it is required as a crystal dungeon. But it means we don't have to check any of the other out-of-the-way chests. Now, he has gotten the big key for it, and can go pretty much straight to the boss now. Speaking of there, Rambler is making his way to the boss room as we speak, and should be taking down Mothula in just mere moments.
Oh, Zelnus takes a center hold fall on Mold. I'm going to fall down 2 floors and lose quite a bit of time there. That's rough to see.
Oh, that is the worst there. It's not the biggest loss in the world there, but just climbing up those 2 floors is just aggravating when you don't know where your other racers are.
Yep, and Rambler came really close to a tragedy of his own there. Very close to getting grabbed by the hand in the room before the drop to Mothula.
He's taking on Mothula right now, getting in some good slashes there, still at half health there. Only has blue mail, so does not the biggest damage reduction in the world, but he also should be able to take this down no problem.
Blue mail
as a caster's curse. He goes down as a combination of a beam, a bump, and some spikes there, but it has a fairy in reserve.
Yep, blue mail does not decrease the damage from environmental hazards like the spikes, so they will still do a full heart of damage.
Yes, that is true damage. It cannot be reduced. You're correct. But even so, a fairy restores a large portion of health right now, and he takes down Mothula with no further trouble.
Yep, Zelnus took another Moldorm fall, unfortunately. Fortunately for Zelnus, did flip the switch downstairs and lets him get some hearts to refill himself.
Moldorm is just one of those bosses that is just hard. He has earned his nickname fair and square of Trolldorm.
Yep. Zelnus has the hammer equipped. With the current loadout that Zelnus have, and all of our runners, really had the choice between using spins on the Master Sword and hammer hits.
Word from the word from the chat there that one of the hints on one of the tiles was sub-cache requires the boots there, so that would indicate to me that boots are locked behind Zora's, wouldn't you say?
No, I think you're reading it backwards. I think what it means is that cache is locked behind the boots.
Okay, so
Bonk Rocks or King's Tomb or like Ganon's Tower Torch, something like that.
Nothing important there, and it doesn't even really mark out all that many locations either conclusively.
We know the torch in desert has to have one of the keys since we found the map in the only accessible chest, so desert is definitely boots locked. There it is. Cache requires boots.
I got you there. I mean, thankfully desert is just a pendant, so we may not have to full clear it, but we'll see. Alright, meanwhile, we've got Zeratul up in Hera at the moment. Their Rambler still working on finishing out Skull Woods. Top Life is heading back to Kakariko at the present moment there, and Zelnus is resetting back to Link's house,
Yeah,
or actually the cave.
Zelnus just got the mitts from the Spiral Cave. That's where the mitts were. So Rambler went down into Spiral Cave without doing Hera, while Zelnus did go into Spiral Cave after Hera. You know, if Rambler manages to leave Tower of Hera to the very end, Rambler has the opportunity to do that really nifty thing where you head to Ganon's Tower in the Dark World, mirror over, finish Hera, and then step back in your portal, and you're right there to finish up the game.
Oh, that's right. Does make some really efficient routing if you can pull that off. But with that there, we've got Zelnus checking out a Dark Death Mountain at the present moment there, while Top Life is elected to go into Thieves Town there. Now, that is a crystal, so we'll need to do that, but it only has 4 chests, I believe.
Yep, 4 unique items in Thieves Town. And we will be able to get all of them because we have the hammer. There's a possibility that the 4th item is locked in the big chest behind the hammer pegs in the basement, but that won't be a concern for our runners. Actually, it might be a concern for Rambler, because Rambler has made it to Village of Outcasts without picking up that hammer from the mini Moldorm cave.
It's quite unusual that they has not finished the all of the tier 0 checks at the all of the Kakariko village and the southern Hyrule chests before jumping into the Dark World. Perhaps leaping before he looks, perhaps.
Yeah, perhaps Rambler is hoping to find the mirror and will be able to combine the South Dark World and South Light World checks, but we have to pay close attention to see if the big chest is available. If our runners pick up a small key, there's a possibility that there's an item in the big chest.
Meanwhile, Zertul is in the Lost Woods there, heading up to do a pedestal check, since he has the book.
Yeah, so let's take a look what we got.
Oh, just a large heart container. Unfortunate. Alright, meanwhile, Zelnus is in the Hookshot Cave there. There wasn't anything in there of particular interest, but at least we got that knocked out of the way. Alright, meanwhile, Top Life is still in Thieves Town as well. We've got 2 runners in Thieves Town as well, and Zertul is heading towards the Skull Woods as well. Zelnus, let's see where they decide to go. Looks like they're heading towards Spike Cave?
Yeah, that's interesting, considering Zelnus does not have an invincibility item. You do get a ton of iframes with the Fairy Revival, so maybe Zelnus is counting on being able to do that.
If this ends up being something, that would be quite the early get of the item here, but we'll see if we can actually pull it off.
We do have 2 bottles. I'm not sure if both of those bottles came with fairies. But you can see just a whole bunch of iframes. Very good use of the hookshot there. Beautifully done. Ooh. That's a question mark item. We don't know. That might turn into something useful.
Unknown there. Yeah, we'll have to turn that into the witch. It's one of those. Well, it's right by the fly point anyway, so it shouldn't be that out of the way there. But it could be something that you could have put it off to much later, and you're looking to turn it in right now.
Yeah, Zelnus. No. Ooh, we just got a hint that the bow is held by somebody friendly. Who's friendly? I need to look in the hints and figure that out.
I can't say that I remember that off the top of my head, so I'll need to look that up as well. And Top Life has picked up the Fake Maiden from Thieves Town, and it'll be heading towards Blind very shortly.
Speaking of fakery, Zelnus is actually going to get 2 for 1 with that mushroom, because Zelnus is going to pull off the fake powder glitch here. Use the cane, and switch to the mushroom. That's what you got to do, Zelnus.
Basically, we're just tricking the game into thinking that we're using the magic powder when we can't.
This is correct. And since we did not get a small key in Thieves Town, Rambler does not have to worry about abandoning an item in the big chest. That big chest is not accessible.
Yeah, it is possible for keys to be locked behind the doors that they open there. So if it's not accessible, then it can't be anything important. And Top Life takes down Blind, easy as pie there, gets the compass, and another crystal there. So that puts him up at three crystals out of the full 6.
7.
7, sorry, I can't count today, apparently.
I was a math major in college, so I can't count ever.
Zelmus has picked up his fire rod as well. Probably going to be heading straight to Skull Woods as well. No, is electing to go over to Death Mountain. Oh no, he's turning in the mushroom.
Yep, we got all we could out of it with fake powder, so we might as well turn it in and see if that sequence break play into Spike Cave made sense.
Meanwhile, Rambler's taking on Blind himself. We get a small shield. But we also have access to Blue Potion now, so that's something.
Yeah, Rambler deviating a little bit from our script. He lets Blind get on there to the bottom of the room. Will probably not have any difficulty. Needs to put in 1 or 2 more hits. 1 more hit from here.
And there we go. So that will be Rambler's second crystal, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct. Top Life is going to be showing us the digging game has a 10 arrow pack.
Zelmus is checking out the swamp hut there. Nothing in here that we saw from last time. But it's still a good thing to check as well. We don't have the mirrors yet, so we can't check Checkerboard Cave there. So now that we've gotten Tower of Hera, we've gotten Skull Woods, and we've gotten Thieves Town, right? We don't have all that we would need. Could we do Misery Mire as of yet? No, we can't. We don't. Well, we have the hook shot, but we don't have boots. But that's not required there.
Nope, don't. We could actually do Misery Mire, I think.
And
We have the
Zelnus agrees with us.
Yeah, we have the medallion to get in. We need the hookshot or the boots to cross the gap. We have the hookshot, that'll be good. We have a fire source in case we need or want to get to the items on the left-hand side. We have the Cane of Samaria to get to the boss. The one thing we don't have that's not required, but we would really like it, is the bow. The bow makes Vitreous a whole lot easier.
Yeah, definitely you want to stay out of that green goo if you can possibly avoid it there. If we're lucky, we might find it here, and we have the Cane of Samaria to activate that weighted tile at the end. And we also don't have to deal with a dark room either. I'm sure that a lot of our runners can handle dark rooms there, but this is a particularly tricky dark room, so if we don't have to deal with it, so much the better. Meanwhile, Rambler has picked up the blacksmith and is doing the Grand Tour of Hyrule. Only a piece of heart from Stumpy. Meanwhile, Zeratul is in the attic of Thieves Town. Top Life is headed towards... Where is he going? Is he heading towards Palace of Darkness? No, he would have chosen a different point from there.
Yeah, it's a possibility. It could be Palace of Darkness, it could be the Pyramid check, the Catfish check, if you want to walk all the way up there.
Oh, looks like Top Life has picked up flippers at some point. I did not notice that.
Yeah, we'll have to pay attention. Zelnus just got the powder from Mire, but he's already done the fake powder, but powder's a great item to find. It's a nice
Rambler
safety
picked
item.
up the flippers and the mirror from Hype Cave.
Yeah, look at that. Flippers, mirror, and shovel from Hype Cave. Pretty hype. All the items seem to be coming in clumps, right? A bunch in Kakariko, Mini Moldrum Cave, Hype Cave.
Yeah, they all seem to be congregated in one general spot there. So now with the flippers, that opens up a lot from there. We have Zelnus in... Well, he's still in Misery Mire by the looks of it. But saves and quits out. Does not find anything of interest inside there.
Zelnus opting not to go all the way to Vitreous, which should be possible with the equipment they have.
Interesting decision. I wonder what is prompting that. Meanwhile, Zelda is heading up to the Ice Rod Cave there, right with Rambler heading up towards. I believe he's no, not heading towards Palace of Darkness. We are going. Excuse me, we're going north from here. Could be doing a pyramid check if we haven't passed by that place already.
Yeah, Rambler had to swim around because Rambler did not get the hammer from Mini Moldorm Cave. So Rambler needed to swim around.
Meanwhile, Zertanol picks up his second crystal there. So we'll be heading onward to see where he decides to go next. Top Life has decided to clear out escape there. I don't believe we saw anything of interest in there the last time we saw a runner in there, but still, it's a number of chests that you'd want to check out just in case. It's not that far of a detour anyway. And it looks like Rambler's heading up towards Dark Zora's domain. At the moment, probably checking out Catfish and then going over to Zora from there. Meanwhile, Zonas has got the hobo and picks up a piece of heart. Hey, Catfish, have a bush. And the Catfish just gives out some bombs, so nothing of importance there, but I imagine that it was just routed in here with the waterfall cave there and also King Zora.
Absolutely. Getting the mirror and the flippers back to back like that makes us some really convenient routing.
That is correct there. And looks like we've got Zonas in the same area, question mark. No, decides to go back to Lake Hylia.
I think
Or was that
I
just
think
an accident?
Yeah, I think he got messed up with the water physics there, and I don't like the water physics in, I was gonna say this game, but pretty much any Zelda game. Zelda still doesn't have the flipper, so Zelnus is doing a water walking glitch here. If you have the Moon Pearl, you can head into and out of the cave to trigger a water walking state. It's not often that you get to see the dwarf visit King Zora.
No, but oh, we've got a boomerang from Zora, so it's a nice item to have there. You can get the stun prize from things if you want to, but it's definitely not required.
If you're playing a version 30 seed and you get a hint about the best boomerang, that's the one. Best boomerang is the blue boomerang and only the blue boomerang.
Yeah, it looks like Zeratunal has finished clearing out Hype Cave. They've gotten the items from there. And Top Life is headed towards the Zora's area like the others have, just as we've seen.
Yep, and I think Rambler is about to give us the first check of the shovel.
Well, we've got the fire shield. It's no, it's just a regular shield by the looks of it.
Yeah, the other shield came from the witch that Zelnus got the mushroom by sequence breaking into Spike Cave.
That is correct there. Alright. So we've got Top Life in Zora's domain there. We've got Zeratunal making his pyramid check there. So where else can we go there? We had people go in, or who was it that went into Misery Mire? Was it Zelnus that went into Misery Mire, I believe? And
Zelnus, yes.
So we've got Misery Mire access right now there. We could go into Turtle Rock if we really wanted to there. We do have the fire rod, so we can continue onward in there, but we don't have anything, although we need to full clear it as of yet there. We could do Palace of Darkness, but we can't get very far in there at all because we have no bow. So we may have to either do Ice Palace or start dipping into Pendant Dungeons.
Yeah, I looked it up on the hints. Held by someone friendly was the hint we got about the bow. That is any NPC or merchant.
So it could be behind the Smiths. We've already checked.
Bow was at the Smiths, because Rambler just turned it in. We do have the bow. There we go.
There we go, then.
So with the bow, but Rambler doesn't have the hammer yet. Rambler not having the hammer, because he has not gone to the south part of Hyrule.
It's one of those things you can easily forget, that you just get so excited about getting Dark World access early that you forget to do the rest of your first early clear and then just assume you've done it from there on out.
Yep. And Rambler's already done the flipper stuff, so... you have to hope he's just leaving it and hasn't forgotten it.
Hopefully he will not be imitating his sprite and be issuing a dope later on. Alright, Zeratunal is picking up the boomerang from Zora's there. Top Life is heading... We'll see, where's it? Is he going to Swamp?
We got a hookshot, we got a hammer, we got a mirror, and we have flippers, so it is certainly within logic, certainly completable. But it is a pendant dungeon.
Taking a little bit of a risk there, if that's indeed what they are going for. But it does have a lot of chests inside of it, so it could be worth it, potentially. Swamp Palace has 6 items in it there, so while it is a bit long there, it can prove useful.
Yep, Zelnus has an unfortunate run-in with his wallet. Zelnus wants to do the digging game, but does not have the money to do so. Has already dug up a full magic refill and a fairy, but not the money he needs. 80 rupees, I believe, for the digging game.
One of those instances where usually you just find yourself swimming in money, but not this time there. But he decides to pick up the Smith instead. Let's see if he decides to go on the world tour, if he hasn't already, or just turn it in and get that bow. Meanwhile, Zeratunal remembers the existence of the Sith Kid and picks up his fire rod there. We'll be able to access Skull Woods now, although the other 2 of the 3 runners have done that so far.
So the vanilla map chest in Swamp has the map. So this means there's guaranteed to be at least one item in that terrible left side of Swamp.
Left side of Swamp. But looks like it's going to be necessary today. Rambler takes down Moldorm there. I believe the last player to do so there. I mean, it was a pretty early dungeon you can access there, but he had bigger fish to fry, so to speak there. But that puts him at 3 crystals there, tied for the lead, I believe, in terms of sheer crystals there. We've got Zelnus at 1 crystal, and Zeratunal at 2.
So there's the bow for Zelnus.
That'll open up both Palace of Darkness and Eastern Palace, so if he desires it. He already knows that that purple chest is not worth anything there because he does not need that medallion.
Precisely. Speaking of need, I think at this point all we need are the boots and the ice rod.
Pretty much there. We need the ice rod to be able to complete the Turtle Rock there, and the boots just for everything else.
Yeah, we definitely need the boots for... Oh no, Desert's a pendant. We might not even need the boots at all. That's definitely the case. We have a hard requirement on the ice rod and a as yet unknown requirement on the boots.
Theoretically, Ganon, the big key of Ganon's tower could be on the torch there and be boots locked, but we don't know for sure there. It's unlikely, but is it entirely possible? So we've got Top Life and Swamp there. We've got Rambler finishing out the escape chest there. We've got Zeratunal checking out the Bombos medallion. Or the Bombos tablet, I should say. We already know where the medallion is there, but only 20 rupees for his trouble there. And some Rose Vulture. We have Misery Mire to complete there. We have Palace of Darkness to complete, and Ice Palace and Turtle Rock left there. So yeah, all we need there. Now we could have one of those cases where Turtle or where the Ice Rod is inside Turtle Rock itself there, which is always aggravating to say the least. But it's still possible. Zero Tunnel has decided to go into Swamp Palace as well. Again, this is a pendant there, but those 6 chests are awfully enticing. Meanwhile, Top Life is on Argus himself there, taking care of this fairly quickly there, being able to latch off those extra blobs and take him down. Now, he does not have the bow, so he can't one-shot Argus with the silver arrows that he has. Has the arrows, but nothing to shoot them with, so spin slashes will have to do. Meanwhile, Zelda has just dipped into Thieves Town there. That is one of those dungeons that you could just take care of whenever you're in the area. There's no real hard requirements for it. Outside of Dark World Access itself, though. And looks like Rambler is heading on. Oh, does he remember that he has not checked out the Moldorm Cave yet? I believe he's heading there right now.
Alright, this is going to be a bunch of great items for Rambler. Not finding the hammer early is not terrible. Since the hammer locks so many things, you don't really have to worry too much about being without it. You'll eventually just be bottlenecked into finding it.
Pretty much, though. Although it's one of those things that you check off early on there, so it's a little bit aggravating, but that's not the end of the world. And he does pick up those items there. And it's just gonna flute his way out there. I was slightly hoping just for some reaction out of that, but that's just me. I'm being dramatic. So we've got 2 runners right now in Swamp Palace, one inside Thieves Town there, and Rambler looks to be headed towards Palace of Darkness, interestingly. That'll be our first look inside of there.
Yep, and will be able, now that he has the hammer, to clear the whole thing.
That is correct there.
And with the mirror, we'll be able to immediately check Sahasrara before even getting into the Palace of Darkness.
That's if we decide to do Eastern Palace first there. The green pennant is vanilla, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I suppose I should be more precise and say we'll be able to check the 3 items behind Sahasrara.
Ah, yes. Top Life and Zero Tunnel are only 1 room apart right now there. And although Top Life does have the advantage of having taken down Mafia at the present moment. So we'll get some side-by-side dungeoneering here there, but I would say the Top Life is in the lead between those 2. And the first chest in Palace of Darkness does have a key here, so the main portion of the dungeon was not bow-locked there, but he had no way of knowing this and did not want to take the risk on finding that out at an inopportune time.
Absolutely. So it looks like the left side of Swamp did not pay out. So I'm thinking then Swamp was just a complete bust.
It's looking like that there. Nothing on Argus, nothing on left side there, but you have to check. Well, you don't have to there, but it still makes things a whole lot easier having that weight off of your mind.
Yeah, you get the weight off your mind, but you also put a few more minutes on your timer. So it's a trade-off.
Bottles in the big chest in Swamp Palace there. Well, that's something good to know. looks like Top Life is in. Oh, has he not rescued the old man yet? No, he's in the cave that I can't remember the name of.
Agina's cave.
Agina caves. Thank you. All right, so we've got Zoneless and Rambler inside of Thieves. No, I'm sorry. Nope, I'm mixing up my hallways here. Rambler's still inside Palace of Darkness. Silly me.
Yeah, they're both in boring gray dungeons.
Well, yeah, but they both have those conveyor belt hallways as well. So I mixed the two up for some reason or another there. But that Zealous taking down Blind, so that knocks off his second crystal there. Serotonal is taking the final approach up to Argus there. Meanwhile, Rambler is still clearing out Palace of Darkness. Palace of Darkness is one of those interesting dungeons where the chests are kind of spread apart in all corners of the map there. So it's have to make sure that you're thorough and check every one. Although for these runners that shouldn't be a problem there, but it does not make things as efficient as one might hope. Meanwhile, Zelnus is heading up to Skullwoods there. Going to be our third runner to take down Skullwoods. Top Life did his quick desert palace check there. Wasn't able to find anything of interest inside of that one chest, as we have already known there. But still a good thing to know because it is a fairly quick dungeon to take out if you could. If something's locked behind that boss, then it's a quick, easy pickup. Zeratol takes down Argus there, picks up the pendant there, and the big key there. I'm not sure if he's checked that telepathic tile that tells us that the Swamp Palace big chest only has a bottle, but we'll see where he goes for. Yeah, looks like he's heading back in. It's not the biggest trek in the world there, and he can mirror straight back out afterwards there, but it's unfortunately not going to be paying dividends of progression items. Meanwhile, Rambler is in the dark room of Palace of Darkness. Just gets the single arrow out of that chest.
Yep. For reference, you should know that if you get a hint pertaining to the single arrow, the game considers the single arrow to be a unique item since there's only one of them.
Not a helpful unique item there, but it is unique. Alright, Zirtanol is now out of the Swamp Palace there. We'll see where he decides to go next there. Top Life is heading straight towards Palace of Darkness as well. Going to be our second runner into that zone. And it looks like Zirtanol is not far behind, heading towards the same place. Although Top Life is going to be checking out Sasha first. And we have the red rang from Sasha there, but nothing else of importance there, especially since we already had the blue rang. Zelnus is dropping down to pay Mothula a visit. Whereas Rambler's checking out the Bowlock section of Palace of Darkness there, should be heading up to Helmasaur momentarily.
Yep. Zelnus had a really great Mothula fight there with 4 Master Sword Spins. I think 4 exactly. Didn't even get any of those damage cancellations.
Very good. A very smooth fight in what is a tricky fight in general. Alright, so Rambler is finishing up Palace of Darkness now, heading down through the last corridors down to Helmasaur. Don't know if we've seen all the items in the dungeon as of yet there, but if not, Helmasaur is our last thing there. And somehow I missed it, but Rambler now has Butter Sword.
Yeah, I know one of the swords was in the big chest here in Palace of Darkness. I'm wondering if the Tempered Sword was also here in Palace of Darkness.
It Probably, well, I'm guessing it would have to be there because he did not have Butter Sword last time I looked there. But now we've got Rambler versus Helmosaur King. So quick sword pokes and hammer smacks should take care of his mask. And then with the bow, one straight arrow to the noggin should take him out now that you have silver arrows.
Yep. Might opt for silvers, but usually if you have gold, you'll just go for 2 slashes, so you don't have to worry about lining up that shot. You can go either way.
And yeah, Helmosaur King just had the compass there, but that is now a crystal, and that is his 4th crystal, and puts him in the lead in terms of crystal count.
Yeah, we just got the tempered sword from that chest in the arena there.
Okay, so we got double swords in Palace of Darkness there. It's not really strictly required, but it does make the later fights much easier.
I have to imagine, based on where the swords were located and where the silver arrows were located, that we should expect all of our runners, almost all of our runners, the ones on the stream, the ones off the stream, to be finishing up this game with gold sword and silver arrows. Unless somebody manages to go mode pod by finding the ice rod somewhere else.
That is true, so we should have a fairly easy Ganon fight there. And we've got Zonas checking out the Graveyard Ledge as we are right now there. I'm not sure if we've seen this one yet already, but we're going to be finding out now.
Yeah, and Rambler is checking out Eastern Palace, and I know we haven't seen that from anybody.
Well, we're here already there. It's not the longest dungeon in the world, so you can clear it out, and as soon as you find that item, or is it 2 items, from the from Palace of Darkness, you can just jet on out of there and have done with it.
Yeah, and Eastern normally has 3 unique items, but in this seed, Eastern's going to count for 4 since we'll get the green pendant from the boss. So that increases its value quite a bit.
Yeah, because we can just go straight to Sasha and pick up his reward as well. Alright, Top Life just picked up his... Oh, he picked up the Butter Sword and just left.
Interesting.
Did not take...
Top Life did not do the smiths, and so Top Life does not have the bow.
Does not have the bow, you're correct. He's unable of continuing. That's going to require him to double dip pod there. Ooh, that is going to waste some time, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Top Life being in Eastern now won't be able to finish this dungeon either, so we'll not be able to get the green pendant. Meanwhile,
Rambler's just cutting his way through all the enemies in here, and should be taking on the Armor's Knights momentarily.
Yeah, and this Eastern Palace is actually a really fortunate one, because we did not get a map or a compass. Which means, maybe I'm mistaken. No. Rambler hasn't gone all the way through to the dark room. Rambler did not go all the way through to the dark, having gotten the big key early. So there's a possibility that the 3rd item is here on the Armos Knights. I'm confusing myself. I gotta think about this.
We'll be seeing soon enough there as he's taking down the Armor Knights with the silver arrows. It is a complete breeze there, being able to take it out in the 2nd form even before it starts there, but only gets the compass there and the green pendant, so I'll have to keep looking for that 3rd item.
Yeah, so that means that the compass was here at the Armos Knights. The map must be on the other side of the long dark room, so because we got the big key and 3 items right away, our runners should know that they don't have to go to the dark room. What a nice little bomb jump there to get through the portal without going back to the dark world. You can also do that by picking up a bomb and carrying it over your head if you don't feel like blowing yourself up.
Oh, but Sasha only has 5 rupees, and there's not going to be anything of importance inside his secret stash either. So either way, that's Palace of Darkness done, but only for Rambler there. Top Life doesn't have the bow and can't finish that out yet there. Zelnus is just heading into Palace of Darkness right now. And Zeratinol, where is he deciding to go? Is he going for... It looks like he is checking out Hobo and seeing what's up in Hoboland. Hoboken, if you will. Unfortunately, I believe he only had like a piece of heart or something like
Yeah,
that.
I think
or a
Hobo
bottle.
was a
No, oh, sorry, you're right. But Rambler's heading straight for Ice Palace there, and that is the next logical place that you would want to go there if you don't want to take the risk of double dipping Turtle Rock. Or you could go to Misery Mire instead there, but that is somewhat of a long dungeon. On the other hand, you are on the east side of Hyrule there, and Ice Palace is not that far away. It's long and it's tedious, but it is a good play to make there.
Yep. Ideally, you can go mode this place, but sometimes you can't.
Zeratinol is now heading up into Skull Woods. Maybe taking down that part. Zonas is still going through Palace of Darkness there. Top Life finally gets the Titan's Mitts here from the... I forget the name of this cave.
Spiral Cave, right? And those
Spiral.
Titan's mitts are locking the bow, so hopefully Top Life heads right away to get the bow. And now Top Life is going to also be going into Ice Palace, it looks like.
Interesting choice there. It's interesting how these small things can add up to a large routing difference in sum.
I think the hint in the Stalfos room in Ice Palace was a duplicate of the Ether hint. Because it said a chest requiring a specialist to unlock. So I think it is the case that you can get multiple of the same hint. I think that's what happened.
Interesting indeed there. And of course, like some of the tiles have just garbage hints. So like this traditional things like the Dongo dislikes smoke. And it's a secret to everyone and such things. And to answer the question there, we had a Titan's Mitts inside a Spiral Cave. Or like progressive glove upgrade if you prefer.
Yeah, I suppose it would have been possible this seed to get the Spiral Cave glove first, but it would have meant you would have had to go up through Paradox Cave without actually getting the items out of it, which would be uncommon.
Pretty much, yeah. You don't really want to do that unless you have to. But we've got two people here inside of Ice Palace there. We've got Zeratinol heading towards... he is in Dark Death Mountain at the moment there. Is he getting the medallion from Spectacle Rock? That would imply that he is going to... which one had Bombo's requirement?
Bombo's requirement was Turtle Rock.
Looks like he's just clearing out Dark Death Mountain at the moment there, with plenty of hearts to be able to tank his way through this there, and I believe a fairy or two as well, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, and we already know from a great sequence break by Zelnus that this will result in the mushroom for Zertinal.
Which would be just one big rabbit trail, but good to know if nothing else. Zelnus is now just about halfway through Palace of Darkness now, finishing up the Dark Room. Probably going to mirror out and check the Bowlock side and then finish it up. And will be our second person to finish Palace of Darkness there. Top Life was unable to finish it, and Zeratinol has not even set foot in there just yet. So far, we have not found anything interesting in... Oh, nope. As soon as I speak there, we find the ice rod inside the ice palace there. So that makes... that will make Turtle Rock full clearable now.
Yep, so now all we have is the 1 in 22 chance that the Ganon's Tower big key is on the torch. That would require the boots. But other than that, we are in go mode.
Pretty much, yes, we are in go mode there unless we get that unlikely chance. Are you feeling lucky, punk? Regardless, there we do. Well, we will be able to go mode the rest of Ice Palace there and all of Misery Mire, which is a sort of a dice roll in itself there. In that, can you find the big key fast enough there? But it definitely is a lot faster than having to full clear it. So we've got Rambler at low health. They're heading into Cold Stare, but I believe he still has some backups on hand, if I'm not mistaken. But we're gonna have dueling bosses here, as we've got Rambler heading into Cold Stare there, whereas Zelnus is gonna be taking on Helmasaur King. We'll see how this all goes there. Cold Stare, if you lock him down, he can be pretty easy there. But with no half magic there, you can't rely on the fire rod as much as you would like. You can lock him into that corner, makes things easier, but if not, then things might get tricky. But that's two blobs down, 3 blobs down. We've got, and Helmasaur King going down at the same time there. That is another crystal on the menu for Rambler there. And that will make his 5th crystal and his 6th boss in total. So now the question is there, do you go to Misery Mire and then try and route Turtle Rock and Ganon's Tower next to each other? That seems like the obvious choice to me.
Yep, I think so.
Alright, there we saw, I believe it was it Top Life who dipped Misery Mire earlier but did not complete it?
Zelnus was the one who dipped Mire and didn't complete it.
Still not sure what's up with that there, but I mean, we're gonna have Rambler full clear it now.
I'm wondering if Zelnus might have mismarked his tracker. Let me check Zelnus' stream.
Well, in the meantime there, we've got Zeratinol taking down Mothula, easy as pie there, and Top Life is heading into the Dark Skull Woods, well, the Skull Woods in general there. Or, no, just heading into the Dark World in this area. Where would he be going now? He's done Thieves Town at the moment there. The only other thing in this area would be he has not done the Smiths there, so he's probably checking the Smiths at the present moment to get what he will soon find out is the bow.
Yeah. I checked Zelnus' stream. Zelnus does not have a personal tracker, so I'm not sure if dipping out of Mire was a mistake, was mistracking, was not feeling comfortable with Master Sword Vitreous without the bow, that sort of thing. I'm not sure.
That might have been the Vitreous without the bow is possible, but is very tricky. We might not have been comfortable with doing that.
That's a useful hint there in Eastern Palace. I don't know if we pointed it out when it came up, but a unique item is in Ice Palace is a nice thing to know, since that's where the Ice Rod was.
Definitely, yes. Which would indicate why people made a beeline there instead of perhaps for some of the other dungeons. But you have to do it anyway, so it's a good thing to do, and it definitely paid off. Alright, looks like Top Life is going to be turning in the purple chest there. He knows that it's just the Ether Medallion there, which is not required. but does he know that yet? He should know it, but he might have missed out on checking out one of the medallion requirements. Alright, meanwhile, Rambler is still trekking through Misery Mire there, searching for that big key. Zeratul is checking out Spiral Cave. He has not gotten the Titan's mitts yet. I had neglected to notice that. But he'll be happy to get those, and that will allow him access into Ice Palace, as well as Turtle Rock, and so many other places as well.
Yep. Top Life now with the bow will be heading back into pod. So, Zertinol indeed with the Titan's mitts. Zelda's having a bit of a rough time with this Igor here.
Firing off several arrows into his side there. But it shouldn't be too much more of a problem there. It'll be right into the Armor's Knights as we speak. Wake up, you Armor's Knights. I want to shoot you in the face.
I want to shoot you in all 6 of your faces.
Meanwhile, Rambler's down to the dark room of Misery and Mire. They should be heading up towards Vitreous soon. Although it's still a little bit away. Making use of that block shot to hit the switch from far off. Standard trick, but still is pretty cool. Meanwhile, Zeratul now is going to be turning in his smith there, going to be finding that bow and be very much relieved to be able to have that and be able to continue on their way. I would say that the bow is really one of the only really hidden items of this seed, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, it really seems like that. Pretty much everything else was, like, on the main path.
The only other thing is the Titan's mitts inside a Spiral Cave, but that's about it there. Everything else was pretty much in the standard locations.
Yep.
Now we've got Zelda's paying the Great Fairy a visit. They're picking up a bomb expansion while he's heading into Ice Palace.
Yep. With a total of 15 bombs now, maybe we'll feel a little more comfortable with the bomb jumps that might be used here in this dungeon.
Would make sense, yes. Alright, so Zeratul is making his path around up to Palace of Darkness there. Rambler has now finished up Misery Mire and is checking out Desert Palace, but there was nothing of interest in there. So it looks like he's heading straight to Turtle Rock now. Perhaps he was hoping for those boots, but no dice. Meanwhile, Top Life is taking down the Helmasaur King.
Yep,
And
two of those gold sword slashes.
Gold Sword does do a ton of damage there. Zeratul is now in Palace of Darkness as well, but it's going to be a little while before he finishes, although looks like he's just making a straight beeline for the boss, if I'm not mistaken.
Perhaps, yeah. Yeah. I always found it cool how bosses that you should never have the gold sword for, like Dodongo and Vitreous, take more damage from the gold sword.
Nice.
Zelna's had a little bit of trouble with the bomb strat there for bombing the 2 Stalfos at once. But that's why Zelna's got some extra bombs. No problem.
There we go then. Now the question is, do you now go mode Turtle Rock there, or do you just keep checking things in the hopes of finding the boots, just in the very rare case that you'll need them?
Yeah, I think you absolutely go mode Turtle Rock. I do want to point out we have a little chatter in chat. We've reached an hour and 10 minutes into the race. We did actually have a first place finish by Andy at 1 hour, 9 minutes, and 18 seconds.
Wow, that is a fast run.
Oh, yeah. So, to remind you, if you weren't here at the beginning, that the score you get in your qualifier race is your score versus the average of the top 3 finishers. So, having such a spectacular run by Andy can't feel good for anybody else in this race who's not Andy.
Very much there. We got a hint in that there's just only cash in the Mimic Cave, so we can save some time by not checking that. A very usefully placed hint. Looks like Top Life is in the Misery Mire there. Zelnus is now finishing up the last few things. Oh, and does he have a fairy? No, he takes a death inside of Ice Palace. Is kicked back straight to the start. Unfortunate.
Yeah, that's rough to see.
That is rough there. But we've got Zirtanol now taking down Helmasaur King. Should not have much of a problem there. It's going down like a chump to the overpowered items that we have. Zirtanol now has finished off Helmasaur King. That's his fifth, nope, 1, 2, 3, fourth crystal. Still has 3 more dungeons to go before you take on Ganon's Tower there. Speaking of which, Rambler is now in the Chomp Room there. Has picked up the key to prove 4 there. It's about halfway through, roughly. Alright, so Zelnus is making his dive deep into Ice Palace once again. Looks like Zirtanol is heading straight for Ice Palace there. And Top Life, having already finished Ice Palace there, is in Misery Mire there. So we've got Rambler currently in the lead there. We have, I would say Top Life is in currently in second position there with 5 bosses cleared there, or 5 crystals cleared. And Zelnus in third with 4 boss. No, Zirtanol is also at 4, so they're roughly about the same point in there. Although with that death in Ice Palace there, Zelnus has a lot of ground to cover. Rapid fire hook shots taking care of those evil penguins there. Always a fun thing to see.
We do, in our overall race, now have a second place finisher. Zero Rush finishing overall second place, 1:13.20. So that's a pretty big gap between first and second there too. So we know Andy's great, but it's cool to see him that far ahead of the field.
Indeed there.
And of course, these guys will be important because they'll be our yardstick for how we score everybody else in this race.
Yep, it's your basically a percentage of your time compared to the average of the top 3 people's time there, and your aggregate score over your 5 qualifying races will seed you for the group stage. I'm having a small bit of trouble in the roller room, or not the roller room, but a roller room here. But it's going to be heading down into the dark basement there. So now we already got a hint that the Mimic Cave is just cache, so we can completely ignore that. It'll save a little bit of time, which is always nice. He's at a half heart there. I hope he has a fairy or something else on hand, but picks up 2 hearts under those pots, so all good. Top Life has finished off Vitreous with a heart to spare. A bit narrow there. Can't see if he has any fairies currently there, but even so. That will put him at 6 crystals there. Now he can head off into Turtle Rock as well. Although Rambler is electing to skip the laser bridge there and is heading directly into Trinex's lair. I wanted to say Twin Mold there, but I was like, no, that's the wrong game. There's no Twin Mold here. Zertanol's getting towards the bottom of Ice Palace there. Zona's not far behind them there. Well, Rambler's taking the final approach to Trinex there, and we'll see how this goes there. We have not found half magic as of yet, but should be able to take care of this no problem. With the Butler Sword, you can make mincemeat out of those heads. With the heads down, we've just got the last head to deal with there, and about a swipe or two with the butter sword, and that should be it. And there we go there. That is Trinex down there, our last crystal there, and we'll be able to head up directly over to Ganon's tower.
Yes, indeed. So Rambler will be the first of our runners into Ganon's tower. We are not running our Ganon's Tower guessing game formally because, you know, you could be watching someone else's stream who's finished already. That's also true. And we're also not on speed gaming, but there are 22 locations in Ganon's Tower. So if you feel like throwing numbers into chat as to where you think that big key might be, by all means, go ahead.
I personally like 14, but that's just my lucky number.
All right, I'm feeling 6 today.
Alright, in the meantime, Zertanol is now taking down Cold Stare there. They're picking up his next crystal here.
Yep.
It is of note that no one has checked the Fat Fairy yet, but it's not required, and I would say that's a good choice not to check it in the vain hopes of the, well, we don't know if it'll be vain or not there, but the rare hopes of finding the boots here.
Yeah, I don't think you bother making that check. It's entirely possible if we need the boots that they're in Ganon's Tower anyway. But given that we already know where our first place finisher finished, I don't think we're gonna have a boots lock here. just my commentator's metagaming suspicion.
Gasp! How did you know?
Rambler is going to take that key from the right side room and head to a full right side check.
Interesting. I am most familiar with just going from right side for chest into full left side there, but this has been a bit more popular as of late. Alright, we've got Zertanol now in Misery Mire there, where our top left is just into Turtle Rock at the moment. Zelmas is heading towards... I'm not sure where he's going right now. But we've got Rambler taking up the rest of the right side there, and is now going into the left side.
Yep. The torch is just cash. Remember? Some cash requires boots. There it is.
Well, there we go then. So the boots are not locked behind that torch there or any other place there, and we can just go straight on to Ganon. No problems. This has been a bootsless seed.
Yes, indeed. We're going to count that torch as number 7, so Rambler's going to be checking 8, 9, 10, and 11 right here in the Stalfos room. And there it is. It's number 9.
Alright, Mire straight out there. We're into the gauntlet phase. With 12 hearts there in blue mayo. You should be able to handle it, no problem.
Zelnus is checking escape. I wonder what's going on there. Because
That's unusual.
Zelnus, I believe, has everything he needs. Correct me if I'm wrong, but
He might be looking for boots, thinking something's in desert.
oh yeah,
paths?
he doesn't have Bombos. We know where Bombos is. Bombos
Oh,
is in
that's
plain
right.
sight, sitting on Spectacle Rock, but Zelnus might not have checked that or might not remember that. Bombos is just sitting there on Spectacle Rock.
That's gonna be a face palm once he remembers that. Meanwhile, we've got Rambler making it through the cannon room. Likes to not go for the safety fairies, probably has enough as is already, and is going up into the spiral enemy gauntlet.
Yeah, Zelnus, I think, is a little tilted. Left that key there in Hyrule Castle Escape.
Could be, yeah. Alright, Top Life is still finishing up Turtle Rock there. It's going through and going towards the big key chest, I believe.
Yep.
This ice and conveyor room is giving Rambler a bit of trouble there, but I believe he has a few safeties on tap.
Yes, I think so. Gets a nice magic refill there in the item drop pool. Oh no! Hope he has a fairy. I think he does.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't seen him use one yet there, and I know that at least one was in a bottle. And I believe I saw him catch a second one.
Excellent. And just
Yep.
to be an abundance of safety, he's going to powder this Bunny Beam as well on the way to Landmo 2. And take it with him.
Although, is it really Landmo 2 if we haven't fought Landmo 1 yet? I wasn't able to get the quick kill on him there, but even so, was able to take him down with no big problems.
Yes, indeed.
Zelda is checking out the catfish there. Looks like he's still searching for that Bombus medallion. Alright, now into the... I'm sorry, no matter how many times I see it, taking out those Blizzards is always stylish there. Now, one interesting thing is that in places where you normally just dash through all these guards here, you now have to fight your way through them, which has given Rambler a small amount of trouble in the previous room, but he has made it through intact and is still on his way.
Yeah, my least favorite room in Ganon's Tower when I don't have the boots is the very last room before the climb up to Aghanim's floor, with the conveyor belts and the beetles and the ice, and it's terrible.
I've seen people die there, yes.
Yeah, speaking of things that are terrible, Zelnus has just learned a terrible truth, seeing the Bombos medallion sitting there on Spectacle Rock. Plain to see.
Well, he has it now, and now he can get into Misery Mire or just go directly over to Turtle Rock if he wants to do that. But I think Misery Mire is the easier routing choice.
Yep, so Zertinal has completed Mire and will be heading to Turtle Rock. Zelnus is entering Mire, and Top Life has completed Turtle Rock and will be heading to Ganon's Tower, all at about the same time.
That's always good there. So we should have everyone within about a dungeon, or maybe two at the most, apart from each other.
Rambler has decided to pillage Moldorm's last possessions and will now be making his way through the room that I don't care for at all.
With all the mini Helmosaurs, it is a pain in the butt, but he
Oh,
does make it through
wow.
easy as pie.
Look at that. That's spectacular.
That is
I'm gonna have to
clean.
study that.
But here we've got the Agatu fight. Clone attack shoots go. Got a single hit on the first volley. And another one. Not getting any doubles or triples here in this setup. Be a bit tricky. Up there we got a double there, so that's 4 hits total. Only 2 more to go. Some good attempts there. Oh, but misses on that round.
Yeah, and they've gotten out of sync at this point, so it's going to be tricky, but Rambler gets it done. And now NY Rambler is the first of our restreamed runners here on ALTTP Randomizer 2 to be heading into the Ganon fight.
Yakin, yep. Oh, some bacon. He is a big pig. You can kill a big pig too. He only gets the generic quote from Ganon. Unfortunate. But with the Brother Sword, he makes easy work of the first phases. Now into the Fire Bat stage there, avoiding them with ease there. A few more swipes with the sword there, and as long as he doesn't get hit by more bats, should be able to.
We know
go
he's
on
fought
into
a
the third
fairy.
phase. Well,
Rambler
at least one.
Yeah, Rambler did not manage to put 6 hits into Ganon during that first part of the second phase, so Rambler's getting a 1 and 2 cycle here. Is going to have to use that fairy.
And Top Life is now into Ganon's tower as well. Well, second, I should say.
Yep, Zertnal down to half a heart. Used the hookshot clip there to avoid taking damage from the roller. Very careful there.
Rambler's now into third phase of Ganon there. All the majority of the danger is now gone, as this is mainly just wait for him to collapse the sides of the room, and then try and execute fourth phase as quickly as you can.
Yep, and we got those silver arrows, so Rambler's going to be putting 4 of those babies into Ganon right here. He gets a single for the first one.
Not sure if he got the torch glitch there properly.
No, I don't think we got the torch glitch. Ooh, don't hug him. Oh, very scary.
Only a single heart left at the present moment. Almost takes a
Good
fall
setup.
there.
Good setup. Gets 2 more in, and this'll do it.
And Ganon is down.
Get your GGs in chat for NY Rambler, the first of our featured runners on this channel to finish.
And indeed, we got a GG from the Triforce as well. I don't have his official time on hand there, but his timer is showing as a 1:28 and 35 and some change.
NY Rambler has finished 27th place overall with an official Speed Runs Live time of 1 hour, 28 minutes, and 37 seconds.
I believe there's, 65 runners in this race total today?
Yep, we started with 65. So one thing that's important to note is that the actual place you finish is not as important. In fact, it's not important at all unless you're one of the top 3 who sets the bar. What actually matters is how your time compares to the average of the top 3. And actually, I threw up a quick spreadsheet to actually do the calculation. Rambler finishes with a score of 0.789, and that is just around where the threshold is right now for brackets. So Rambler needs to do about that well or better going forward to have a chance at brackets. That's where the bar is right about now. And
Very good.
Yeah, that's not a bad. Especially this is, I believe, Rambler's first qualifier. Let's see if I can't send him a message and bring him on in here. And we are joined by the first of our restreamed runners to finish, NY Rambler. GG.
Hey, GG.
Congratulations for your finish in our mini group of 4 there. What did you think about the stream in general?
I mean, it was pretty straightforward. I just took a couple detours that I didn't need to in retrospect, but I mean, I thought the players are correct. You know, I took the frog on a long tour because the hint that told me the bow was with a friendly person, it narrowed it down for me that it was either catfish or the frog. So I figured one of those two had the bow for me. And then once I went into Pod and Eastern, I got the hint about something unique in Ice Palace, and I was narrowing down what could be left because I was looking just for Fire Rod or maybe Boots. So I was like, there's like a 2 in 5 chance that Ice Palace has it, so I'll just go there right away. And sure enough, that's where it was. So, I mean, I think I played okay, not great. The bug net was a very good item for me to seed.
Yeah, it did come in handy on multiple occasions there. And there was really only 2 of the really hidden items there. I would say it was the Titan's Mitts inside of Spiral Cave there and the bow on the Smiths.
Yeah, I went straight to Death Mountain after I had Flute and Hookshot because I figured, you know what, this is a play that it could pay off big for me if it has like things. And sure enough, it had everything I needed to go to the Dark World. So I thought, I mean, that did also mean I put off Mini Moldorm Cave forever, which had 2 more items I needed.
Yeah, Mini Moldorm Cave definitely came in handy at the beginning, but it thankfully did not end up coming to bite you, as you end up getting a lot of your own goodies from Dark Death Mountain as well.
Yeah, well, Dark Death Mountain didn't have the best things for me. Another thing that really threw me for a loop that kind of changed my routing for me was Fire Rod and Sick Kid.
Yeah, how did that affect your decisions?
Because I was not going to go into Skull Woods at all unless I had Fire Rod. Once I had Fire, like my plan was go Flute, turn in Sick Kid, and then go straight to Thieves Town and do everything there. But then when I got the Fire Rod, I was like, all right, let's try. It might not pay off, but let's try killing Mothula. Luckily, I had a fairy in a bottle.
Yeah, definitely there. Mothula, even that early, can be a bit of a pain there.
Yeah, but overall, I'm content with how I played. I'm content with my finish. I was hoping I'd do a little better, but the people on the other streams absolutely killed it. Shouts to them.
Oh yeah, I believe if I'm looking at the spreadsheet correctly, Rambler, this is your first qualifier?
Yes.
So I ran the calculation. You came in with a score of about 0.78 or so. So that score is like right on the bubble right now. So
yeah, but the thing is, a lot of top scores will be getting dropped soon once people finish their 4th.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
So I'm hoping if this is either the worst of the 3 that count or is the one that gets dropped, then that would be perfect for me. Because this is, I think, right around the cut line, being about 20 minutes outside of average, maybe a little. No, the 10 minutes. I was like 10 to 15 minutes outside of average.
Yeah, that sounds about right to me. That sounds good.
Indeed, we just have to wait for Ganon to bring down all four sides of the room before we can proceed into the final phase. making sure to give him a big smack on the noggin each time. Bad Piggy. Gets one shot on there. It took it sort of an aggressive approach for a double, but does not end up having time enough to get it.
I have to imagine Ganon is in the process of dying. That sounds about right.
Yeah, I would imagine so, but well, I don't have it at a time just as of yet.
Well, we might as well report that Zelnus did indeed finish this fight. Zelnus finished 51st place overall with a time of 1 hour, 54 minutes, and 16 seconds.
GG to you, Zelnus. Okay, there we go. We got things back online now. We will see if we can't get him in here shortly for an interview, but we'll get back to with that as soon as we can.
And we are indeed joined by Zelnus. GG, Zelnus.
Yeah, those are letters you can put in front of an end.
Well, if you read the tournament rules, those are the only letters we're allowed to use, right?
Uh-huh.
So what do you think of that one?
If I didn't forget Bombos, I would have been a lot better, because I would have jumped into Ice Palace. I almost went to Ice Palace around 30 minutes. I don't remember the moment I got Titan's Mitts, I almost fake flipped in, because I was like, well, the only things I need is flippers and Ice Rod and Bombos, because I forgot I knew where Bombos was, and yeah, I honestly would have considered that. But if I'd remembered that Bombos was where it was, I would have fake flipped into Ice and then drawn the Ice Rod. Which would have, if I had remembered Bombos, put me in Go mode, because you don't need flippers for this seed. So I think that's what Andy did. I'm curious to watch. I'm gonna guess that's what somebody did. Somebody fake flipped. I'm sure, because it's a very viable option. But I did. I'm. This means I'm out. So.
Well, we'll see how the numbers shake out there. But what did you think about the location of the bow and of the Titans midst this seed? Since those are really pretty much the only hidden items, the seed was very generous otherwise.
I mean, Titans Mitts weren't hidden; they were just in Spiral Cave. Like, if you didn't do Spiral Cave, I mean, your routing is very odd. You should rethink your routing on Death Mountain. Is all I'd have to say. Is, I mean, you had the hook shot, you had the hammer. I mean, even if you didn't have the hammer when going up to the mountain, which is possible, yeah. I mean, I don't even remember where the bow was. I want to say it was in Dark Death Mountain.
The
It
bow
was
is
on
at the Smiths.
Oh, right, yeah. Which is like something I would have, which is something like I think most people would have done even quicker because they know all they had to do was the Smiths if they had read one of the 2 hints. Because there's 2 hints this time for that.
So,
Which
do you
is
enjoy having the hints in this version of the game? There, do you think it makes
Yes.
things more interesting?
Yes, I think it makes the game much more interesting from a routing perspective.
Yeah, like we were talking about early on, that it sort of eliminated purple chest off the get go once we found that one. And that's one thing that we don't really particularly care to have to do if we don't have to.
Mm-hmm. It's it. I don't know. I don't know what to think. Like, I mean, I'm 40 minutes behind, so it's gonna be like a point. It's gonna be like 0.6 or something.
I actually have. I'm using a spreadsheet to run the numbers. It's actually a 0.43.
Oh yeah, so yeah, no, I'm out because that's my other worst is like a 0.6. So I mean, I guess if I'll still play in one because if I can get a 1 in 2 of them, I can probably still qualify. So if I can be in like top 0.9 or up, I may be able to qualify. So I mean, it's not like at this point I'll just kind of play them casually, so it doesn't matter. But yeah,
Oh,
GG
yeah,
everyone.
always try. And so,
Yeah, and huge races are a cool environment in which to race. A bit different from the 12, 20 people on the nightlies. Getting to do a race with 60, 70, 80 people is its own thing. Any last thoughts, Elnus?
Nope.
Alrighty then. If you like what you saw today, remember to throw these fellows some follows. They've done a great job battling through this seed for our entertainment. As a reminder, our trackers today have been Link Force Zero and Raspberry Floof. They've helped us out immensely in keeping track of what's going on. There will be more randomizer than you could possibly want, though that's quite a lot of randomizer, on the ALTTP randomizer channels and the speed gaming channels. Phantom Fox, it's been a blast commentating with you. I will let you have the last word.
all right. Well, thank you for that. Then again, thanks to all of our runners and our trackers and our restreamers there. There is more randomizer coming down the pipeline. Check out the schedule for that. Then again, I've been joined by Firewood King there, and I am Phantom Fox. So have a wonderful afternoon, and we will see you next time. Catch us if you can.